New, 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 new. New, 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 new. New, 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 new. New, new, new.
Okay, here we go. Let's do
this. This is the Switches Stop Snitches edition.
Yeah.
You really like these switchable cables. This is a funky device. This is a special USB extension cable that's not very long, but it has a switch in the middle, and that switch allows you to turn it from a data cable to a charge cable.
Why would you ever want to do that?
That's a good question. There's actually a lot of times that people want to do it. One,
I want to do it all the time.
Well, there's two major cases where you want to do it. Well, 2.5. First, most common case is you have a tablet or a phone that when you plug it into your computer to charge, it goes into like some weird ass sync mode, and it's like, da-donk, I'm not going to do any charging, and like now you have to use me as a disk drive, and like you can't use it because it thinks it's like attached to your computer, and then you don't want to charge it. It thinks like, I'm going to now act like a weird device. Like my Kindle does it, my tablet does it. It drives me crazy because I'm like, no, I really just want to charge it, and then like maybe use it, but it's like just low on battery. So what this allows you to do, and you can use this with iOS devices, which is nice because it's just an extension. You plug your lightning cable in or whatever, your mini or micro USB, and then if you want to use it as a drive or you sync, you put it on data mode. If you just want to charge it, you put it on charge mode. Just set the switch before you plug it in. The computer gets a little confused
Computers
sometimes.
hate this.
The computers don't like it if you disconnect the data lines without the power lines.
Yeah.
It's not like nothing bad's going to
happen.
happen.
Like this. Because sometimes you plug something in, and it's like, oh, I see you're a hard drive, and I want to charge you, and I'm going to install. I see you should
updates.
I see you should have firmware. I'm going to take away features. I just want to charge it.
You just want to charge it, and this way you can make sure you can basically be sure to charge your thing, or you have a game play. Like I have a PSP, and it like when I charge it in, it's like I'm going to back up your games, and I'm like, no, I just want to play it while plugged in.
Just auto run stuff on Windows. You don't want that.
Don't want that.
Everything should have switches.
So that's the number one case. The second case is you're at DEF CON or Hope, and you want to charge your phone, but you're very suspicious of pretty much everything around you, and you want to make sure that by plugging in your device, you aren't accidentally sending data. So this is kind of like a USB condom, they call it,
Yeah.
They call it. It makes sure that there's no risk of any data leaving your device, especially if you have a device with sensitive information. You're at an airport, there's a free charging station, but like, who knows how they make money. So you make sure there's no way for it to sync. It's definitely only charging your device. And it disconnects both data lines.
We have more.
We have more. So the next cable is pretty similar. This one, instead of an extension cable, it's an all-in-one cable. It's a full micro USB cable, and same deal, except it's not an extension. So you have like one of each. For most devices, you'll probably just grab this because what's nice about it is you can use it as a micro USB cable, change it to charger mode whenever you want to charge, data mode when you want to do both. You're totally good to go. But if you're using it with iOS devices or something with a weird charging cable, then yes, of course the extension. Or you want to use it with multiple different cables or really long cables, really short cables. You get the extension. So there's two of them. Maybe I can show them on the.
Any drivers needed for these cables?
You don't need nothing.
Okay.
It's just a switch inside. I actually opened this up on Desk of Lady Ada. Inside of here is just this is literally connected to a switch, and the switch just mechanically opens and closes the connection for the data line. It's a double pole switch. So there's two switches, and it connects and disconnects mechanically the data minus and data plus line. So there's no data leakage possible.
Yeah, if you're a security professional, get one of these, crack it open, make sure it's really switching.
You verify it.
And then now you have something that's really helpful.
Yeah, but this is, and then the third case is for me because I sometimes have to do debugging of like bootloaders and runtime and like, is it connected to the computer or not? So like, debugging this USB sync clock. And so having the data line sending data I sometimes want to stop it. So I was using this to basically turn on and off the data line so to make sure that the computer wasn't synchronizing with the microcontroller when I didn't want it to, because I was trying to emulate a bad USB cable or not plugged into a computer. So this is really handy.
Okay, next up.
Useful cables.
Lady Ada's house of writing utensils, sort of.
Fluxin.
It's a Flux pen.
It's a Flux pen. And this is our first time carrying a Flux pen. Now, people have been asking, why haven't you carried a Flux pen before? The reason we haven't carried a Flux pen is they often are not possible to ship via air. You have to ship them ground only, and it's a real pain. And I was like, look, I don't want to carry a Flux pen.
Yep.
If basically by adding it to your order, we have to ship it ground. So this one does not have any shipment requirements. Now, it doesn't mean it's good for you. It's still Flux. It's by definition corrosive. If it wasn't corrosive, it wouldn't be Flux. So when you use the pen, and you use it by wiping, I can show it really briefly.
Yeah, let's go to the overhead.
When you use it, use ventilation, okay? Make sure you're super careful. So this is just like, my Metro demo. So you just you do the thing you do with markers where you press in.
Yeah.
And then it gets Flux. It gets wet. I mean, it comes dry, but then now it's kind of damp.
It's getting fluxy up in here.
And then you just flux your connections. And especially if you're doing like fine pitch surface mount stuff.
Yeah, handy.
This is very handy. I'm going to take this home because I definitely need this. Yeah, whew, Flux. Not good for eating or constant snorting. It's no clean. You don't have to do anything after you use it. So it's not as corrosive as water wash Flux, but as a nice trade-off, you don't have to do any cleaning afterwards, which is, for most makers, is kind of challenging. We also have Quik Flux in the liquid form with a syringe, but some people really like the pens. So I like having both. Quik is really good at this stuff. They're like reused by the maker market, a lot of rework and like decapping things or removing chips. They're really good at that. So their Flux is pretty nice, and we're gonna try this out. I'm digging it. It's a good Flux, I think.
Okay. Next.
I don't use Flux, but I'm gonna start using Flux.
Okay. Next up. This is super fun.
More cables.
We saw these at late one night, and we finally got the samples. We looked at them, we liked them, so we got them.
This is actually, I was looking for the switch cables because that's what the thing we were looking for, but then I found this by accident because I was like just searching around for like weird ass cables. So this is a micro USB cable, and it's kind of like a cross between a micro USB cable and a charge adapter. It's a total USB cable, but the power line has a power monitor on it.
Where'd that charge doctor get his PhD? I've heard stories about charge doctor.
Charge doctor.
Where'd you get your medical degree?
So okay. So there's some good things about this and some like things that I just got to warn people about. The good thing is it works quite well. I like that the display is small. It's in the middle of the cable, not at the base of the cable, because often the base of the cable is plugged into the back of your computer or something, you can't read it. This is in the middle, so it's like really easy to read. Actually, it's not even in the middle. It's actually kind of near the end, so it's near to the device, but it's not like in the way. Maybe I can show it on the overhead, because this is like, I'll show what I mean. Get the Flux out of the way. So this is like the end of the cable, and then this is the monitor, and then you have like, about a meter of cable after that. So this is like, my Nexus 7, which of course is constantly dying. So it makes a really good thing for testing batteries. So you plug it in just like a normal cable, and you can use it for data or sync or both. You can use it with the switch extender if you don't want it. It'll tell you the voltage, and then it will tell you the current. So it was 5 volts, and now it's drawing 948 milliamps. So the good news is the milliamp display is really nice. I like that it gives you milliamps. It can go up to 2.5 amps. That's wonderful. The thing that makes me a little sad is it doesn't display the voltage again. So that's the trade-off. We have like a USB OLED monitor in the store and the charger doctor, and they show both. They show the voltage and the current. This one only shows the current. Kind of wish it showed both or like flip between the two, but this is kind of what I could get. If I could get a version that showed both, flipped between the two, I would, but this is all I could get. So that said, it does a really good job of showing you current. And for most things, if you're not concerned about voltage droop, this is fine. This is not only used for, testing chargers, but, your power boost. What, sorry?
I had a question.
Oh, yeah, what's your
What's
question?
the max current you think it can do?
2.5 amps.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, see if you don't on the back. 2.5 amps. It has an over voltage protection. You can use it up to like 20 volts or something, but I don't know. I haven't really tested it. I'm using it for USB. You can use it for, your Raspberry Pi project. How much current does it draw? When you turn on or turn off HDMI, how much does it change? You can use it for your microcontroller project. I just like that it's inside the cable. I think that's kind of neat. Especially if you the charger doctors, they're at the USB port. I often kind of have to like lean over.
This is cool because you can
you can look at it really quickly.
Okay.
So other than the one thing of not showing the voltage, this is a really nice cable, and of all the samples, I like this the most. So that's why we have it.
All right, the stars of the show tonight, besides you, are these buttons.
These are pretty sweet buttons.
We got white, red, yellow, blue.
Okay.
Here are some of the
So these are mini arcades, which is kind of interesting. We've had standard sized arcade buttons called 30 millimeter. These are 24 millimeter, so they're a little smaller and cuter. Thank you for showing me.
Yeah. Thanks. I can go with the overhead now.
Alrighty, yeah. So this is one of the buttons. As you can tell, it is a little bit smaller. It's about 6 millimeters smaller in diameter. You use a 24 millimeter hole. This, unlike our other arcade buttons, it's a little deeper, and it has this, screw type connector, which makes it, I think, a little bit easier to use, and also it's a little bit less expensive. So it actually turns out to be about the same price as our larger buttons without LEDs, but again, they're a little thicker. And you've got the switches to switch contacts, and the switch it's not clicky, it's nice and soft. I think it's a good feel. And then there's these two other contacts that inside go into a little LED PCB, and the PCB even has a resistor. So you've got red, yellow, blue, and white. We're gonna get green. For some reason, green didn't show up yet. But let me hook this up to my demo.
Like a connoisseur of buttons, you have like, oh, it has a nice feel.
Hold on, sorry. I think that connector, that USB port doesn't work or something. I need to get my charger doctor.
Charge doctor.
Okay. Let me see. It's either this way or it's this way.
Patient needs help.
This is the way. You have to just, if it doesn't work the first way, just flip it around. This is just a PWM demo. There's two LEDs, so like you can kind of even see there's like one here and one there. It diffuses very well, though. You can barely tell. For the red and the yellow buttons, you do need to have 5 volts or higher. Because the two LEDs are in series. Again, I wish it kind of wasn't, but this is what I got. But give it 5 volts, and you've got nice buttons. You can, of course, control the LED completely separately from the button, or have it turn on, whatever you want with your controller. Our spade connectors work very nicely, so you can even do quick connect. So I don't even have any soldering involved here.
Yeah,
I
that's
just
fun.
have this connected to an Arduino. So this is red, nice glowy red, and then let me just switch this out for the yellow. Yellow. So yellow, nice soft yellow color. Again, two LEDs, so you do need to have 5 volt power for this. It won't light up at 3.3 volts. But then we have the blue, and I think for the red and the yellow, these draw about 5 milliamps total. And then for the blue, what's nice is actually the blue, they put the two LEDs in series. So you can actually drive this from 3.3 volts and it will work. It'll just be a little dimmer. So it's blue, nice blue color. And then of course, if you want to make them dimmer, just put in an additional resistor in series with the power ground pin. So you don't have to have the brightness it has. It has a built-in, I think, 1K resistor inside. And then finally, translucent white. Okay, so nice white color.
All right.
And you can kind of disassemble these a little bit if you want to, paint the diffuser or put something in there. We'll have green as well, but right now we have just red, yellow, white, and blue. But nice little arcade buttons, a really nice feel, good price, and of course built-in LEDs without having to do anything extra.
Yep.
And then they work as buttons, of course.
Good live demos, Light Data.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sushi, sushi.
And with that, new products are over. Woo!
Woo!
Good work.